The stars had always seemed peaceful to the people of Earth. They looked up at night and saw beauty. They saw wonder. They never thought that something was looking back at them. But something was, and on that cold morning in December, the world learned they were not alone. The ships came without warning. Hundreds of them filled the sky above every major city on the planet. They were massive, dark, and shaped like nothing humans had ever built. They blocked out the sun in some places. People stopped their cars in the middle of roads. Children pointed up from schoolyards. Office workers pressed their faces against windows. The world held its breath. In Seoul, a young military officer named Yuna stood on the rooftop of the defense headquarters. She watched the largest ship hover over the city like a giant metal cloud. Her phone buzzed with messages from her team, from her family, from friends she had not spoken to in years. Everyone wanted to know the same thing. What was happening? She did not have an answer. The president called an emergency meeting within the hour. Leaders from around the world joined through video screens. Their faces showed fear, confusion, and something else. Hope, maybe. Hope that this was not what it looked like. Then the message came. It arrived on every screen, every phone, every radio on Earth at the same time. A face appeared. It was not human. The skin was gray and smooth. The eyes were large and black, like polished stones. The mouth was small and thin. When it spoke, the voice was calm, almost bored. People of Earth, I am Ambassador Vorin of the Galactic Coalition. We have watched your world for many of your years. We have studied your broadcasts, your wars, your achievements. We know what you are. We know what you have created. Yuna felt her stomach turn. She did not like where this was going. Vorin continued. We have seen your augmented warriors, your soldiers who lift impossible weights, your workers who do not sleep, your athletes who break the limits of flesh. We have seen the recordings. We know you have enhanced your species. The world went silent. People looked at each other. What was he talking about? The Galactic Coalition demands that you surrender these augmented soldiers to us. We will study them. We will learn how you created them. In return, we will allow your planet to continue existing. You have one rotation of your planet to respond. If you refuse, or if you lie to us, we will take what we want by force. The transmission ended. The screens went dark. In the conference room, the world leaders erupted into chaos. Everyone was talking at once. Some were shouting. Some were crying. The American president slammed his hand on the table and demanded silence. Does anyone know what he is talking about? He asked. Do we have some secret program I was not told about? The room went quiet. No one spoke. Yuna was called into the meeting. As one of the top intelligence officers in the Korean military, she had access to classified information from around the world. She had spent her career looking for secrets. If there was a hidden super soldier program, she would know. She stood before the screen and faced the leaders of the world. Her heart was beating fast, but her voice was steady. I have reviewed every classified military program from every major nation, she said. There is no augmented soldier program. There are no enhanced humans. Nothing like what the ambassador described exists. The British Prime Minister leaned forward. Then what is he talking about? He said he saw recordings. Yuna paused. She had thought about this during the walk to the meeting. I believe he saw our normal broadcasts, news reports, sports events, military footage. I think he saw regular humans doing regular things. The room was confused. The Chinese leader frowned. Why would regular humans impress an advanced alien species? Yuna did not have an answer for that. Not yet. Meanwhile, General Taeho was organizing the military response. He was an older man with gray hair and a face full of scars from battles long past. He had fought in wars that the young soldiers only read about in books. He had seen death up close. He was not afraid of these aliens, but he was worried. He stood in the command center, watching screens that showed the alien ships hovering over cities around the world. His officers moved around him, talking on phones, typing on computers. Everyone was trying to understand the situation. "Sir," one of his officers said, "we have tried to contact the alien ships. They are not responding." Taeho nodded. He had expected that. They had made their demand. Now they were waiting. "What do we know about their weapons?" he asked. The officer shook his head. "Nothing, sir. We have never seen technology like this. We cannot even guess what they are capable of." Taeho looked at the screen. The ships just floated there, silent and threatening. He thought about his grandchildren. He thought about the world they would grow up in. He had always hoped they would live in peace. Now he was not sure they would live at all. In a small village outside of Busan, an old farmer named Dong-soo was working in his field. He had heard the news on his radio. He had seen the ships in the distance. But he did not stop working. The rice would not plant itself. The seasons did not care about aliens. His wife came out and called to him, "Come inside, the world is ending." Dong-soo laughed. He had lived through war. He had lived through famine. He had lived through floods and fires. The world had tried to end many times. It never succeeded. "The world is not ending," he called back. "I have seen worse." His wife shook her head and went back inside. Dong-soo kept working. He bent down and pushed his hands into the soil. His back hurt. His knees hurt. But he kept going. He had been doing this for 50 years. He would not stop now. Miles away, in a hospital in Daegu, a young doctor named Hana was finishing her 3rd day of work without sleep. A bus accident had brought in dozens of patients. She had operated on 7 of them. She had saved 5. She had lost 2. She would remember their faces forever. A nurse told her to rest. Hana refused. There were more patients coming. There was always more work to do. She did not know that somewhere above her, alien observers were watching. They saw her vital signs through their scanners. They saw that she had not slept in over 70 hours. They saw that her body should have collapsed long ago. But she kept moving. She kept working. She kept saving lives. On the main alien ship, Voron reviewed the data with growing confusion. He had been so certain when he arrived. The evidence was clear. Humans were enhanced. They had to be. No natural species could do what humans did. But the Earth leaders claimed they had no augmented warriors. They seemed genuinely confused by the accusation. Voron wondered if they were lying. He wondered if they were hiding their best soldiers somewhere. He would find out soon enough. The deadline was approaching, and if they did not give him what he wanted, he would take it by force. He looked at the blue planet below him. Such a small world. Such strange creatures. He had conquered dozens of planets. This one should be easy. He had no idea how wrong he was. 12 hours had passed since the aliens made their demand. The world was in chaos. Some people were hiding in their homes. Others were running to churches and temples. Some were fighting in the streets, stealing food and supplies. But most people just waited. They watched the news. They held their families close. They hoped someone would fix this. In the emergency command center, General Taeho and Officer Yuna were working together. They had gathered every piece of information they could find. They had talked to scientists, soldiers, and doctors. They had searched through classified files from every nation. The answer was always the same. There were no super soldiers. There were no augmented humans. "We need to respond to them," Yuna said. "The deadline is in 12 hours. If we say nothing, they will attack." Taeho nodded slowly. "But what do we say? They want something we do not have." Yuna pulled up a screen showing the alien broadcast. She had watched it 100 times. She had studied every word, every gesture. "I think I understand what happened," she said. "They have been watching our broadcasts, our movies, our news. They saw humans doing things that seemed impossible to them." "Impossible?" Taeho frowned. "What did they see?" Yuna typed on her computer. Images appeared on the screen. A firefighter carrying 2 children out of a burning building. A marathon runner crossing the finish line after 42 kilometers. A soldier lifting heavy equipment in a war zone. A grandmother pulling her car out of a ditch with her bare hands during a flood. "They saw these," Yuna said, "and they thought we were enhanced. Modified. Because to them, these things are not normal. Tejo stared at the images. But these are just regular people. This grandmother, she is from my village. I know her. She is just a farmer. I know, Yuna said. But think about it from their view. What if their species cannot do these things? What if they have never seen anything like this? Oh. The general was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood up. We need to talk to them. We need to show them the truth. A communication request was sent to the alien fleet. For 2 hours, there was no response. Then, finally, Ambassador Vorin appeared on the screen. His gray face showed no emotion. You have something to tell us? Tejo stepped forward. He had faced enemies before. He had negotiated peace treaties and war agreements, but he had never talked to an alien. He kept his voice calm and strong. Ambassador Vorin, we have searched our entire planet. We have checked every military program, every science lab, every secret facility. We do not have augmented warriors. The soldiers and people you saw in our broadcasts are not modified. They are natural humans. Vorin's large black eyes narrowed. You are lying. I am not. The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh. We have analyzed your species. We have seen what your people can do. No unmodified biological creature can perform such actions. You lift weights that should crush your bones. You run distances that should stop your hearts. You survive injuries that should kill you. You are clearly enhanced. Yuna stepped forward. Ambassador, may I show you something? Vorin looked at her with curiosity. Speak. She pulled up more footage on the screen. It showed Dongsu, the old farmer, working in his field. He was bending down, standing up, carrying heavy bags of rice, walking back and forth under the hot sun. The footage was from a documentary made 10 years ago. This man is 73 years old, Yuna said. He has worked in his field every day since he was 15. That is 58 years. He has no modifications. He has no special equipment. He is just a farmer. Vorin leaned closer to his screen. His eyes moved as he studied the footage. This is not possible. A creature that old should not be able to move like that. His joints should have failed. His muscles should have wasted away. And yet he keeps working, Yuna said, because he has to, because his family depends on him, because giving up is not something humans do easily. The alien was silent. She showed more footage. A mother in a small town who had lifted a car to save her trapped child. A young boy who had walked 3 days through a desert without water to find help for his family. A group of villagers who had worked for 72 hours straight to dig survivors out of an earthquake. These are not soldiers, Yuna said. They are not trained warriors. They are teachers, farmers, students, and shopkeepers. They are normal humans. Vorin's expression changed. For the first time, he looked uncertain. Your medical data. We analyzed it. Your species can repair damage to your bodies. Your wounds heal. Your bones mend. How is this possible without technology? General Tejo answered. Our bodies do this naturally. It is how we evolved. We are not fast like some animals. We are not strong like others. But we heal. We adapt. We keep going. Impossible, Vorin said. But his voice was weaker now. No species evolves like this. In the coalition, each species has one strength. The Vortons are strong. The Kelish are fast. The Mindari are intelligent. But none of them have all these traits. None of them can do what your people do. Yuna felt something strange. It was pride. She had never thought of humans as special. They were just people. They lived. They worked. They died. But hearing an alien describe them like this made her see things differently. We are not special to ourselves, she said. We do not think about these things. A mother lifts a car because her child is in danger. A farmer works until he cannot stand because his family needs food. A doctor works without sleep because people are dying. We do not think. We just do. Vorin was quiet for a long time. On his ship, he turned to his advisors. They were whispering to each other, their gray faces showing confusion and something else. Fear. Your entire species is like this? Vorin asked. All 8 billion of you? Yes, Tejo said. Some are stronger than others. Some are faster. Some are smarter. But all of us have the same basic abilities. We can all push beyond what seems possible when we have to. Vorin ended the transmission without another word. On the alien ship, there was panic. The advisors were arguing. Some wanted to attack immediately, to destroy this dangerous species before they became a threat. Others wanted to leave, to report back to the coalition and warn them about what they had found. Vorin sat in his command chair and thought. He had come here expecting to find a small group of enhanced soldiers. He had planned to capture them, study them, and use their technology to make the coalition stronger. Instead, he had found a planet of 8 billion creatures who were all enhanced. All dangerous. All capable of things that no other species in the galaxy could do, and they did not even know it. Back on Earth, Yuna and Tejo waited for a response. The deadline was getting closer. They had told the truth. Now they could only hope the aliens would believe them. In his field, Dongsu finished his work for the day. His back was aching. His hands were sore. But the planting was done. He walked back to his house, where his wife had prepared dinner. He sat down and ate slowly, enjoying the simple food. He did not know that far above him, aliens were studying footage of him. They were measuring his movements, analyzing his endurance, trying to understand how an old man could do what he did. They could not find any sign of modification. He was just a human, just an ordinary farmer, and that terrified them more than anything. In the hospital, Dr. Hana finally stopped working. She had been awake for 80 hours. She collapsed into a chair and fell asleep in seconds. The nurses covered her with a blanket and let her rest. She would wake up in a few hours and start working again. That was just who she was. On the alien ship, Vorin watched her sleep. He watched her vital signs stabilize. He watched her body begin to repair itself, recovering from the impossible strain she had put on it. What are these creatures? One of his advisors whispered. Vorin did not answer. He did not know. But he was beginning to understand that he had made a terrible mistake coming to this planet. The deadline was approaching. And Vorin had to make a decision. Attack and face 8 billion of these impossible creatures, or retreat and admit that the great galactic coalition had been frightened away by a planet of farmers and doctors and students. Neither option seemed good. But as he watched the footage play again and again, as he saw humans doing things that should not be possible, he began to realize which choice he would have to make. The deadline passed without an attack. The alien ships remained in the sky, but they did not fire. They did not move. They just waited. And on Earth, people began to hope. Ambassador Vorin requested another meeting. This time, he did not make demands. He asked questions. He wanted to understand. Dr. Hana was called to join the conversation. As a biologist, she could explain things that the military officers could not. She had slept for 6 hours and felt almost normal again. She stood in front of the screen and looked at the alien face staring back at her. Tell me about your species, Vorin said. Tell me how you exist. Hana took a deep breath. She had studied human biology her entire life, but she had never had to explain it to someone who knew nothing about it. We evolved on a planet with harsh conditions, she began. Our world has extreme temperatures, dangerous predators, limited resources. Our ancestors had to adapt or die. So we adapted. Vorin listened carefully. His black eyes never blinked. Our bodies produce chemicals when we are in danger, Hana continued. We call it adrenaline. It makes us stronger and faster for short periods. It blocks pain. It helps us survive situations that would normally kill us. All of your species has this chemical? Vorin asked. Yes. Every human. It activates automatically when we are threatened. A mother sees her child in danger. And suddenly she can lift things she could never lift normally. A soldier is wounded, but he keeps fighting because his body is blocking the pain. Voron made a note on his device. What else? Hana thought about how to explain. We can go without sleep for long periods. Not forever, but longer than is healthy. Our minds fight against the need to rest when we have important work to do. Doctors, soldiers, parents with sick children, they push through exhaustion that should make them collapse. We have seen this, Voron said. We saw you working for over 70 hours. You should have died. Hana smiled a little. I would not die from that. I would feel terrible afterward, and I did. But my body can handle it. Once, maybe twice. Then I need to recover. And you recover completely? No permanent damage? Usually, yes. Human bodies are good at repairing themselves. Our cells know how to fix damage. Our bones grow back stronger after they break. Our skin heals and protects the injury. We get sick, and our bodies learn to fight that sickness so it cannot hurt us again. Voron turned to his advisors. They were whispering again, their gray faces showing disbelief. In the coalition, Voron said slowly, our species do not have these abilities. When we are damaged, we must use machines to repair ourselves. When we are tired, we must rest immediately, or we will shut down. We cannot push beyond our limits. We do not have limits that can be pushed. Hana found this fascinating. Your bodies just stop working? Yes, it is a safety feature. Our biology prevents us from harming ourselves through overwork. If we try to do too much, our bodies simply refuse to continue. Humans do not have that feature, Hana said. We can hurt ourselves by working too hard. Some of us do. But we can also choose to push through when we need to. The choice is ours. Voron was quiet for a moment. This is very dangerous. You could kill yourselves. Some of us do, Hana admitted. But most of us know our limits. We push when we have to, and we rest when we can. It is a balance. General Tejo stepped forward. Ambassador, I want to show you something else. He pulled up footage from military training. Young soldiers running through obstacle courses. They fell. They got up. They kept going. They carried heavy packs over long distances. They swam through cold water. They crawled through mud. This is basic training, Tejo said. Every soldier goes through this. It teaches them what their bodies can do. It teaches them to push past the point where they think they will fail. Voron watched the footage with growing alarm. You train your young to ignore their body's warnings? We train them to know the difference between discomfort and real danger, Tejo said. Pain does not always mean damage. Tiredness does not always mean we must stop. Humans learn to read their bodies and make choices about when to push and when to rest. This is insane, one of Voron's advisors said. They are teaching themselves to override their own survival instincts. No, Yuna said. She had been quiet, but now she spoke. We are teaching ourselves to expand our survival instincts. When a soldier fights through pain to save his friends, he is surviving. When a doctor works through exhaustion to save her patients, she is surviving. We survive by helping each other survive. Voron leaned back in his chair. He looked overwhelmed. Hana continued her explanation. There is something else you should know. Human emotions affect our physical abilities. When we are afraid, we become stronger. When we are angry, we become faster. When we love someone, we will do anything to protect them. Our feelings are connected to our bodies in ways that we do not fully understand. Feelings make you stronger? Voron asked. Sometimes, yes. A parent who loves their child can do impossible things to save them. A soldier who believes in his cause can fight longer than a soldier who does not. Our minds and bodies work together. Voron was silent for a long time. When he spoke again, his voice was different, softer, almost afraid. We came here expecting to find a weapon, a technology, something we could take and use for ourselves. Instead, we have found something else entirely. Your species is the weapon. Every single one of you. Hana did not know what to say. In the coalition, we have soldiers, Vorin continued. Professional warriors who are bred and trained for combat. They are the strongest of our species. The fastest. The most skilled. We have perhaps 10,000 of them. They are our most valuable resource. He paused. You have 8 billion beings who are each capable of what our elite soldiers can barely do, and you do not even train most of them for war. Your farmers, your doctors, your teachers, they are all warriors waiting to be activated. Teho nodded slowly. We do not think of it that way. But yes. When our home is threatened, everyone fights. We have seen it in our history. When we are invaded, the entire population resists. Old people, young people, men, women, everyone. We have studied your history, Vorin said. We have seen the wars you fight against each other. They are brutal. They are long. They do not end until one side is completely destroyed. You fight with a fury that we have never seen in any other species. Yuna felt uncomfortable. Human violence was not something to be proud of. But she understood what Vorin was saying. We can also be peaceful, she said. We prefer peace. We work together, build together, create together. Violence is not our first choice. But when we must fight, we fight hard, Vorin nodded. That is perhaps the most frightening thing of all. You are capable of great destruction, but you choose not to destroy. You have the power to be monsters, but you try to be good. This requires a strength that my species does not have. Dr. Hana felt tears forming in her eyes. She had never thought about humanity this way. She had seen too much suffering, too much cruelty. She had watched people hurt each other, for stupid reasons. But hearing an alien describe humans as strong for choosing peace made her feel something she had not felt in a long time. Pride. We are not perfect, she said. We make mistakes. We hurt each other. We fail, but you keep trying, Vorin said. You fail and you try again. You fall and you get up. This is what we cannot understand. Why do you not simply give up? Hana thought about her patients, the ones who fought through pain and fear, the ones who survived things that should have killed them, the ones who smiled, even when they were dying. Because giving up is not who we are, she said. We hope, even when there is no reason to hope. We believe things can get better, even when everything says they will not. It is foolish. Maybe. But it is human. Vorin ended the transmission. The screen went dark. On the alien ship, he sat alone in his quarters. He thought about what he had learned. He had come to Earth looking for soldiers to steal. Instead, he had found a species that should not exist. A species that broke every rule of biology and evolution. A species that was both terrifying and beautiful. He had a decision to make. And for the first time in his long career, he did not know what to do. On Earth, the humans waited. They did not know what would happen next. But they were ready. They were always ready. It was, after all, what humans did. The alien fleet had been in Earth's orbit for 3 days. They had not attacked. They had not left. They just floated there, watching, waiting. And inside the main ship, Ambassador Vorin was having the most difficult conversation of his life. The Coalition Council had contacted him. 12 faces appeared on his screen, representing the 12 most powerful species in the known galaxy. They wanted to know why he had not completed his mission. They wanted to know why he was still talking to the primitives of Earth. Vorin took a deep breath and began his report. Honored Council, I must inform you that our initial assessment of Earth was incorrect. We believed the humans had created augmented soldiers. We were wrong. The beings we saw in their broadcasts were not modified. They are natural humans, all 8 billion of them. The council members exchanged confused looks. The High Speaker, an ancient creature with wrinkled blue skin, leaned forward. Explain, Ambassador. How can this be? Vorin shared the data he had collected. Medical scans, biological analysis, video footage. He showed them farmers working impossible hours, mothers lifting vehicles, athletes pushing their bodies beyond all reasonable limits, doctors operating for days without rest. Their biology is unlike anything we have encountered, Vorin said. They have a chemical response to danger that temporarily increases their strength and speed. They can suppress pain signals to continue functioning while injured. Their bodies repair damage automatically over time. They can survive extreme conditions that would kill any coalition species. The council was silent. On their worlds, these abilities did not exist. Their species had evolved differently. They had technology to enhance themselves, but their natural bodies were weak compared to humans. This is not possible, one council member said. You must have made an error. I have not made an error, Vorin replied. I have triple-checked every piece of data. These abilities are standard in their species. Every human has them, from their oldest elder to their youngest child. Another council member spoke. Then we must destroy them. A species this dangerous cannot be allowed to exist. They are a threat to the entire coalition. Vorin had expected this response. He had thought about it himself, but he had more to share. I considered that option, he said. But I must tell you what I have learned about their numbers and their nature. Earth has 8 billion humans. That is more than the entire combined population of the Coalition's 12-member worlds. If we attack them, we will be fighting a war against a force larger than anything we have ever faced. They have no space fleet, the High Speaker said. They cannot reach us. Not yet, Vorin replied. But consider this. Humans went from riding animals to flying aircraft in less than 100 years. They went from flying aircraft to walking on their moon in less than 70 years. They developed technology at a rate that would take us thousands of years to match. If we attack them and fail to destroy them completely, they will come for us. And they will not stop until they have won. The council was silent again. Vorin continued. There is something else. Something that frightens me more than their physical abilities. Humans form emotional bonds with each other. They call it love, friendship, loyalty. These bonds are so strong that humans will die to protect those they care about. A human soldier will give his life for his fellow soldiers. A human parent will fight to the death for their children. They do not surrender. They do not give up. They fight until they win, or until they are all dead. All species have survival instincts, a council member said. This is different, Vorin said. They do not fight only to survive. They fight for ideas, for beliefs, for other humans they have never met. We have records of human wars where millions died for concepts like freedom and justice. They will sacrifice everything for things they believe in. We have no equivalent. We fight for resources, for territory, for survival. They fight for abstract ideas, and they never stop. The High Speaker's face had turned pale. What are you recommending, Ambassador? Vorin paused. He had spent 3 days thinking about this. He had reviewed every option. He had consulted with his advisors. The answer was clear, but saying it was difficult. I recommend complete withdrawal from Earth's system. I recommend we never contact them again. I recommend we classify Earth as a restricted zone and forbid any coalition vessel from approaching within 10 light-years of their sun. The council erupted in protest. You want us to run? This is cowardice. The coalition does not retreat. Vorin waited for them to quiet down. This is not cowardice, he said firmly. This is survival. I have been to many worlds. I have conquered many species. I know when a fight can be won and when it cannot. We cannot win against Earth. Not now. Not ever. He pulled up more data on his screen. Look at their history. They have fought wars against each other that lasted for years. Wars where millions died. And after each war, they rebuilt. They recovered. They came back stronger. They have survived plagues that killed half their population. They survived natural disasters that destroyed entire civilizations. Every time they are knocked down, they get back up. This is not a species that can be defeated. This is a species that survives no matter what. One of the council members, a military commander from a warrior species, spoke up. You speak of them as if they are gods. They are not gods, Vorin said. They are something more dangerous. They are survivors. The universe has been trying to kill them for millions of years, and they are still here. They have been shaped by struggle and hardship into something that should not exist. They are the apex predators of their world. And soon they will be the apex predators of this galaxy. Then we should strike now, the military commander said, before they become too powerful. Vorin shook his head. If we strike now, we will unite them against us. Right now, humans fight each other. They are divided into nations and groups that compete and conflict. But our analysts have studied their behavior. When faced with an external threat, they put aside their differences and work together. Our attack would be the greatest gift we could give them. It would turn 8 billion individuals into one united force. And that force would destroy us. The High Speaker looked troubled. You are certain of this? I am certain, Vorin said. I have watched them. I have studied them. I have spoken to them. They do not know how special they are. They think they are ordinary. They think every species can do what they do. They are unaware of their own power. And I believe we should keep it that way. You want us to hide from them? The military commander asked with disgust. I want us to avoid them until we understand them better, Vorin said. Perhaps in 1,000 years, we can approach them carefully. Perhaps we can form an alliance. But right now, any contact is too dangerous. They are too unpredictable, too capable, too resilient. The council debated for hours. Arguments were made for and against attacking Earth. Some wanted to destroy the humans before they could become a threat. Others wanted to capture some and study them. A few supported Vorin's recommendation for complete withdrawal. In the end, the High Speaker made the decision. Ambassador Vorin will withdraw from Earth's system immediately. The coalition will observe from a distance, but will not make contact. Earth will be designated a restricted zone. Any vessel that approaches Earth without authorization will be considered a traitor to the coalition. Some council members were angry. Others were relieved. Vorin felt only exhaustion. On Earth, the humans waited. They did not know about the debate happening above them. They did not know how close they had come to war. They went about their lives, working and laughing and fighting and loving. They were ordinary people doing ordinary things. In her hospital, Dr. Hana treated patients. In his field, Dong-Su planted rice. In the command center, General Tae-ho watched the alien ships and wondered what would happen next. Officer Yuna analyzed data and prepared reports. They were all just humans. Nothing special, nothing unusual. And that was exactly what made them so terrifying to the beings watching from the stars. On the morning of the 4th day, the alien ships began to move. People all over the world stopped what they were doing and looked up. The massive vessels that had hung in their skies like dark clouds were rising. Slowly at first, then faster. They climbed higher and higher, until they were just dots of light. Then, they were gone. The world held its breath, waiting for them to return. They did not. In the command center, General Tae-ho watched the tracking screens. His officers confirmed what everyone hoped. The alien fleet was leaving the solar system. They were heading back into deep space, away from Earth, away from humanity. They are really leaving, Yuna said. She could not believe it. Tae-ho nodded slowly. It appears so. Why? She asked. They had the power to destroy us. They could have taken what they wanted. Why are they leaving? The general was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. Just a little. Maybe they learned something about us that scared them. On the alien flagship, Ambassador Vorin stood at the viewing window and watched Earth shrink in the distance. The blue planet looked so peaceful from up here. So small. So harmless. But Vorin knew better now. His second-in-command approached. Ambassador, the course is set. We will reach coalition space in 3 standard months. Good, Vorin said without turning around. Sir, may I ask a question? Vorin nodded. Do you think we made the right choice, leaving without taking anything? Voron thought about this for a long time. He thought about the data he had collected, the footage he had watched, the conversations he had with the humans. He thought about the farmer working in his field until his body broke. He thought about the doctor saving lives until she could not stand. He thought about the mother who lifted a car, the soldier who ran into fire, the old woman who survived floods and wars and famines. We made the only choice we could make, he said finally. To fight them would be to destroy ourselves. But they are primitive. They have no space fleet. They have no advanced weapons. Not yet, Voron said. That is the key. Not yet. But they will. Look at what they have achieved in just a few thousand years. They went from caves to cities, from horses to spacecraft, from stone tools to nuclear power. They evolve faster than any species we have ever seen. Not physically, but mentally. They adapt. They learn. They improve. He turned to face his officer. In 100 years, they will have ships that can travel between stars. In 200 years, they will have colonies on other worlds. In 500 years, they will be everywhere, and we will have to face them not as primitives, but as equals, or as superiors. The officer looked frightened. What should we do? Voron turned back to the window. Earth was just a speck now, barely visible among the stars. We should hope, he said. Hope that when they finally come to us, they remember that we left them in peace, that we did not attack them when we could have, that we chose to walk away instead of fight. On Earth, celebrations were beginning. People flooded into the streets. They cheered and cried and hugged each other. The aliens were gone. The world was safe. Life could return to normal. In Seoul, Officer Yuna watched the celebrations from her window. She was happy, of course. The threat was over. But she felt something else too. A strange feeling she could not name. She thought about what the aliens had said about humans, about their abilities, their resilience, their strength. She had never thought of herself as special. She was just a soldier doing her job. But the aliens had looked at her and seen something extraordinary. They had looked at all of humanity and seen warriors, survivors, beings to be feared. Maybe, she thought, we should start seeing ourselves that way too. Dr. Hana was back at the hospital. The celebrations could wait. There were patients who needed her. There were lives to save. She worked through the night, just like she always did. The aliens were gone, but her work continued. A young nurse asked her how she kept going, how she worked so hard without stopping. Hana smiled. I do not know, she said honestly. I just do. There is always more work. There are always more people who need help. So I keep going. The nurse nodded, trying to understand. She would learn, Hana knew. They all learned eventually. Humans were made to keep going. In his village, Dong-Soo sat on his porch and watched the stars. His wife sat beside him, her hand in his. They had been married for 50 years. They had seen many things together. Wars, disasters, miracles, and now, aliens. What do you think they wanted? His wife asked. It does not matter, Dong-Soo said. They are gone now. But why did they leave? Dong-Soo thought about this. He was just a farmer. He did not understand politics or war or alien technology, but he understood people. He understood survival. He understood the simple truth that had kept him alive for 7 decades. Maybe they saw something that scared them, he said. What could scare creatures like that? Dong-Soo looked at his hands. They were worn and rough from 50 years of work. They had planted thousands of fields. They had built houses. They had held children and grandchildren. They had never stopped working, never stopped creating, never stopped pushing forward. Maybe they saw us, he said. His wife laughed. What is scary about an old farmer and his wife? Dong-Soo smiled. I do not know. But I have survived wars that should have killed me. I have survived famines and floods. I have worked every day of my life. even when my body told me to stop. And I am still here, still working, still alive. He looked up at the stars. Maybe that is what scared them. That no matter what happens to us, we are still here. We survive. We endure. We keep going. And we never, ever give up. His wife squeezed his hand. They sat in silence, watching the stars together. Far across the galaxy, Voron was writing his final report. It would be sealed and classified at the highest level. Only the council would ever read it. But he wanted to make sure his words were clear. He wanted future generations to understand what he had seen on that small blue planet. He wrote about human biology, about their adrenaline response and their healing abilities. He wrote about their endurance and their adaptability. He wrote about their emotional bonds and their willingness to die for each other. But at the end, he wrote something else. Something that was not scientific. Something that came from his heart. The humans of Earth are not a species to be conquered. They are not a resource to be harvested. They are not a threat to be eliminated. They are something new, something we have never seen before. They are proof that the universe can create beings of incredible strength and resilience. They are a reminder that survival is not about power or technology. It is about will. And no species in the known galaxy has more will than the humans. He paused, then continued. I recommend that we leave them alone, not because we fear them, although we should. Not because we cannot defeat them, although we cannot. We should leave them alone because they deserve to find their own path. They have earned that right through millions of years of struggle and survival. They have proven themselves in ways that we never have. He saved the report and sent it to the council. Then he sat back and thought about the strange, beautiful, terrifying species he had met. The farmers and doctors and soldiers, the grandmothers and children. The ordinary people who did not know how extraordinary they were. One day, they would come to the stars. One day, they would meet the coalition again. And when that day came, Voron hoped he would be remembered as the one who chose peace, the one who saw humanity for what they truly were. Not monsters, not warriors, just survivors. 8 billion survivors on a small blue planet, looking up at the stars and wondering what was out there. They would find out soon enough. And when they did, the galaxy would never be the same. On Earth, life continued. People went back to work. Children went to school. Farmers planted their fields. Doctors healed their patients. Soldiers trained for battles they hoped would never come. They did not know that they had just passed a test. They did not know that an entire galaxy had looked at them and decided they were too dangerous to fight. They did not know that simply being human had saved them. They were just ordinary people, living ordinary lives, and that was the most extraordinary thing of all.